This is Anna Sami. I'm reporting from the Cannon Caucus Room here on Capitol Hill, where we had a major event today, December the 17th. The name of the event was Iran Policy, Countering Tehran's War and Terror, Advancing a Free Non-Nuclear Republic. Several prominent members of the U.S. Congress, including Congresswoman Nancy Mace, Congressman Brad Sherman, several other congressmen and women, Judy Chu, from both parties participated in the event, showcasing bipartisan support for the Iranian people's struggle for freedom and democracy. The keynote speaker today, of course, was Mrs. Maryam Najavi, who is the president-elect of the National Council of Resistance of Iran. She outlined her vision for the future of Iran, which is a democratic, secular, non-nuclear Iran. Lawmakers here emphasized their support for the Iranian people, their demand for a republic that rejects all forms of tyranny, whether religious or monarchical. The members of Congress who spoke today reaffirmed their unified stance in supporting the Iranian people and their call for freedom, democracy, and justice. The briefing, moreover, underscored the growing momentum behind the efforts to counter Tehran's policies of war and terror while advancing a vision for a free and democratic Iran. And certainly the incident of the fall of the dictator Assad in Syria heavily influenced the discussions today. So we are very happy to report an extremely successful event. Many of the congressmen and women, in fact, all of them mentioned that change and freedom in Iran.
Ladies and gentlemen, leaders of the Iranian American communities and friends, thank you so much for joining us on behalf of Organization of Iranian American Communities. I want to welcome you for this pivotal congressional briefing where we stand united across party in support of the people of Iran and their quest for a free and non-nuclear republic and a secular Iran. I think all the events that we have witnessed over the past several days, specifically as it relates to Syria and the fall of Bashar al-Assad regime, really has brought this pressing issue of a global importance, which is the ongoing struggle of democracy and human rights in Syria and in Iran. So as we gather here today, let us recognize this momentous shift in the Middle East that significantly impacts our discussion today. You are going to be hearing from senior members of Congress speaking on that and really addressing what does the recent fall of Bashar al-Assad regime mean for U.S. policy and for the region. Collapse of Assad's regime marks a very significant blow to Tehran's strategy in the region. We actually heard from members of Senate earlier.
For years, I've been proud to stand with you in the fight for human rights and democracy in Iran. And we will continue to work together to ensure that the United States stands up for the people of Iran and makes clear that we are with them in their struggle for peace and freedom. And that is so critical right now because the conditions in the Middle East are rapidly shifting. Just over 2 years ago, I stood with you in the Capitol to celebrate the bravery and the resilience of the millions of Iranians who took to the streets to protest the regime's murder of Mahsa Amini. They endured brutal, violent crackdowns, but showed the world that they were willing to risk everything for their freedom.
You know, everywhere the Iranian dictators look, they see growing resistance at home, opposition abroad, and decay from within. This Iranian regime is like a rotting porch that still maintains its shape and form, but is weak and hollowed out and only awaits a sudden gust of wind that will bring it crashing down. I think all of us here can sense that this moment is rapidly approaching, that the hope in this room and in rooms like this across the world is palpable. And the more hopeful we are, the more fearful must be the criminal gang that has tortured the Iranian people for so long. Freedom and justice walk hand in hand. Freedom for the Iranian people means justice for the Iranian dictators. And we can all sense that that day is coming soon, and so can they.
But what's important is that we stand together with you and want a regime change. That we not only will talk about that, but we will insist on it. And America's foreign policy will not just speak with that voice, but speak with our friends and neighbors. We will speak around the world. We will speak, our new UN representative will speak in New York City about the need for regime change because, in fact, they are brutal thugs to their own people. So please know this as you come, during not just this holiday season, but as you gather together, you have done the spade work that is necessary by meeting with members. You have taken time for the last all 26 years that I've been a member of Congress to tell your story, to expect that we would listen and that we would respond accordingly. So I will say this, the success for Rain Dance has a lot to do with timing. I think the seeds were on the ground. Thank you very much for being with us, and I wish you the very best.
After Syria will be Iran. And when Iran falls, Miriam Rajavi will be leading her from the front lines. Because Iranian women are in Iran right now. They are leading the resistance. They are leading the resistance inside Iran and out. And because of them and because of what they are doing, Iran will fall. So I'm here tonight to condemn the regime in Iran. I'm here tonight to condemn the Shah in Iran and his dictatorship of oppression, his dictatorship inside Iran, and I want to support all Iranians who want freedom and a free and democratic Iran. I support all of you.
And your unwavering dedication to freedom, justice, and democracy is not only inspiring, but it is essential to achieving a better future for Iran.
Brutal regime is causing so many problems, not just for our country, but for the safety and security of the world. I totally support, and I take every opportunity to get on board with anything that comes down the legislative pike that supports a free, democratic, non-nuclear Iran. A country where its people who want to be free, who want to be a part of the Middle Eastern and the world community can do so without being repressed. I promise you that I will do everything I can to continue to fight that fight with you.
For 28 years, we've been looking forward to the day when the mullahs are out and democracy is in. And that is why the National Council of Resistance of Iran and the Organization of Iranian American Communities has worked so hard to bring freedom to the people of Iran. And never has it been so close. I want to thank Miriam Rajavi for her work and for her support of women's rights in Iran. And I want to thank the National Council of Resistance in Iran that back in 2002 broke the story for the world to see that Iran had an underground nuclear facility in Natanz. America and the world owe a debt of gratitude to you. We have seen levels of suppression in Iran that even exceed the terrible and macabre story that is revealed now by reporters in Syria. We saw so many massacred in 1988 and since then. And I know that the friends and family Loved ones of those who died in 1988 might have despaired and wondered whether those sacrifices were in vain. But those friends and family may yet live to see democracy in Iran. So we have to do everything we can in the United States to show that we stand with the Iranian people, to show that we stand with Iranian resistance groups, perhaps some funding that isn't publicized, but certainly publicized support. That all over the world, America stands with democracy.
We know that the regime in Iran is wrong, and we know that it is oppressive, it is evil, and is supplying weapons to our enemies around the world and oppressing its own people. It's time for leadership that matters, leadership that leads from the front. We shouldn't be kowtowing to a country that's trying to become a nuclear power and actually subjugate its own people, to threaten the rest of the world, to export terrorism and weapons all over the world. Shame on us for standing by.